Sometimes it feels like the hardest moments are the only ones we hear about. This is 10 Better Minutes, a space for real stories that offer a quieter kind of balance. Here, you will find a few recent moments from the world that remind us life is not only about struggle or noise. Over the next several minutes, these stories quietly show what is often overlooked, but still very much present. We will begin with a story about two teenagers in Iowa who noticed an elderly woman in trouble and helped save her life. Two Iowa teens were riding their bikes near Fruitland, heading toward Muscatine, when they noticed an elderly woman in a yard. Cohen Chick spotted her first, and Gunnar Skidmore stopped to check on her. What could have been a quick glance turned into an immediate mission of help. The woman told them to call for help, and she did not have her phone or water. She had been stranded outside since around 5 p.m. the day before, after falling while feeding her horse and rolling from her backyard to the front of the property. So the boys did what good neighbors do when time matters. Gunnar contacted his mother and she rushed to the scene. Meanwhile, the teens called 911, making sure emergency responders could get there as quickly as possible. In the end, the woman was taken to a hospital in Muscatine for medical treatment. But the kindness did not end with the ambulance lights. Gunnar's mother has stayed in touch with the woman's family and helped care for her horse while she recovers. There's even a plan in the works to welcome her home with homemade lasagna. It is a simple reminder that courage can look like slowing down, checking on someone, and speaking up right away. When two riders followed their instincts, they helped turn a long, difficult stretch into a story of rescue, community, and hope. On some Fridays at the Ville-Évrard hospital complex near Paris, something gentle happens that does not look like standard care at all. It is quiet, hoof to hand, and the days afterwards seem to carry an easier kind of calm. Ville-Évrard's wooded farm sanctuary opens its paths for therapy sessions, where patients meet donkeys named Nono, Pitou, Oscar, Manolo, and Malraux. Each visit is free of charge, and the program began in 2016 when founder Francois trained the animals to be steady and approachable. Some patients ride in small carts pulled by the donkeys, while others focus on smaller, reassuring moments, like a donkey nuzzling close or offering a hooves for cleaning, the simple ritual of care given back and forth. Other animals are part of the same slow rhythm too, including goats, turtles, rabbits, guinea pigs, chickens, and doves. One 52-year-old patient, Jerome, described the outings as a real relief. He said they help his daily life because they break the loop of treatment routines and medication schedules, giving his mind a different kind of place to land. Staff and organizers have noticed that patients often return feeling good, calmer, and relaxed without needing any grand changes. The founders, Ermelinda and Francois Hadet, are also seeking proper research so the approach can be understood well and, perhaps, offered more widely across France. For one afternoon, the routine steps aside, and something ordinary and patient helps people breathe a little easier. Some rescues arrive with no grand speech, just a careful decision to help when it is hardest to help. Today's story is proof that even a frontline can still make room for kindness. A mission codenamed Meow-Meow began with drone pilots from the Motorized Infantry Battalion of the 118th Separate Mechanized Brigade, and their good action was simple and steady. They used a large drone to evacuate a cat and her 5 kittens from dangerous forward positions. The family had ended up where ordinary movement was not safe, so the team did something different, turning technology meant for danger into a tool for care. The drone carried them out of the most exposed area and into the rear, where safety could finally replace urgency. After the animals were moved, they were photographed not as a trophy, but as a quiet record that the rescue worked. And that photograph matters, because it holds a moment of hope that does not ask anyone to look away from reality. It invites you to remember that compassion can be practical. It can be planned, flown, and carried out. The uplifting part is not that everything is perfect. The uplifting part is that people still choose rescue. When the world feels heavy, a cat family getting away from danger can remind us that goodness keeps finding a route through. Juneteenth carries a simple but powerful message that freedom became real for the last enslaved people in the United States when they finally received the news. And it is worth asking what it means to remember that moment in a way that reaches beyond one day. In 1865 in Galveston, Texas, the Civil War had ended, and federal orders under President Abraham Lincoln Emancipation Proclamation would liberate people who had not yet been told. Juneteenth is commemorated every year with backyard parties, community parades, memorials, and shared meals, making space for both history and joy. In 2021, it became a national holiday, and planning for the next year shows broad momentum too, with administrative calendars for 2026 indicating at least 33 states, and the District of Columbia will mark Juneteenth with a paid day off for most state government workers. If you have ever felt like you knew the date, but not the full story, you are not alone. What helps is turning the celebration into learning and connection. You can start with museums like the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C., and documentaries that bring local voices to the forefront. You can also support Black-owned businesses, show up to community observances, and advocate for racial justice that keeps moving after the cookout ends. That is the hope of Juneteenth. It invites us to deepen our understanding, celebrate honestly, and carry action forward with other people watching the same sunrise. When keeping HIV prevention up day after day is hard, the question becomes simpler. What if protection could fit into life without asking people to take a pill every single day? In large, randomized, double-blinded Phase 3 trials, researchers tested twice yearly subcutaneous injections of Lenacapavir. They compared it with the standard daily prevention pill, either Truvada or Descovy. In Purpose 1, about 3,200 participants in a high HIV incidence setting, described as Uganda or South Africa, received the injection schedule, and there were no new infections among young women during the first sample. Purpose 2 expanded to more countries and included about 5,000 participants of all ages and both sexes. Across that broader trial, results showed about a 99.9% reduction in infection rates compared with daily prevention pills. Both Purpose trials were halted early for ethical reasons because the difference was so striking. Afterward, follow-up included a 52-week screening period, watching closely for HIV developments. What I find uplifting here is the quiet shift in what prevention can look like. For many people, consistency is a challenge, shaped by time, side effects, cost, and stigma. An option that only asks for injections twice a year can turn a medical plan into something more realistic. Science did not just measure numbers. It opened a door toward protection that can actually be sustained. As always, I have a wonderful tip for you to help with your mental reset and find a little more steadiness in the world. Today's tip is about keeping hard conversations from turning into emotional pile-ons. Because sometimes what starts as honest truth quickly becomes a courtroom, a spill of old resentments, and suddenly nobody is actually listening. Before you speak, take one quiet moment and ask yourself, what is the purpose of this conversation? Is it to solve something, understand something, or set a boundary? When you name the purpose in your own mind, you are less likely to reach for every pain you have ever collected. Then, slow the pace of your points. Start with one clear statement and keep it specific. When that happened, I felt overwhelmed, and I need us to agree on a plan. Notice the difference between describing the moment and attacking the person. If emotions rise, use a repair line instead of an extra jab. Try, I'm getting heated, and I want to get back to the real issue. That gives both of you a way to breathe without pretending nothing matters. And finally, aim for one question that invites reality, like, what do you need for this to feel fair? Hard conversations can stay human when you keep them focused, respectful, and unfinished in the best possible way. Hey friends, we made it to the end of this episode of 10 Better Minutes. Thanks for taking a few minutes with me today. I hope it leaves you with a steadier feeling, like a quiet reminder that decency is still here, kindness is still practical, and people keep showing up for each other in ways that do not always make the headlines. If you want a little more of that for your day, please follow or subscribe. New episodes are posted every day, and it can be a nice way to clear some noise and come back to what is good. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.